You clicked on this video because you already know the size conversation is not the whole story. Somewhere in the back of your mind, you have been asking a quieter question. If size is not the problem, why is she still not finishing? You are tired of guessing from movies and from some forum at 2 in the morning. Good news, I am going to give you the actual answer. Not opinion, not what sounds good. What the research and my clinical experience actually show. I am a doctor. I am a woman. And I am not going to waste your time with vague reassurance. Let's go.
One day at a
First,
time,
let's deal with the question everyone is still thinking. Does size matter? I have already told you the honest version of that. It is complicated, and most men are asking the wrong question entirely. When women are asked what they actually want in bed, size keeps landing near the bottom. Below confidence, below technique, below feeling safe enough to let go.
So I
below,
told her that we
and
should
this still surprises men, basic attentiveness. So if you came here hoping I would say buy something, stretch something, or chase a number you saw on a screen, you are in the wrong room. This video is about how to make her orgasm when size is not the problem, which, for most of you watching, is already the case. Here's the brutal truth. A huge percentage of men who are statistically completely normal still leave a woman half-finished. Not because the equipment is wrong, because the operating system is wrong. You treat her body like the engine of a rusted old truck that needs to be warmed up for hours, and then you drive it like you are late for a flight. You spend the first 2 minutes rushing to get inside. You spend the next 10 minutes performing, and you spend the last minute watching her face for a grade. That is not how to please a woman in bed. That is how to make her polite. Recently, a man came into my clinic. Let's call him David. David is 56. He is not a kid from the internet. He has been married, divorced, and now he is with a woman he actually likes. He sat down, looked at the floor, and said, "Doc, I am a normal size. I checked. I am not broken. I can last. I try. And she still does not get there with me. Sometimes she finishes later, alone, in the bathroom, and I hear the water running." He was not asking me for a miracle pill. He was asking me why technique was failing a man who thought technique meant more time and more force. I asked David to describe the last time they had sex, in order, without the movie version. He said they kissed for a bit. He touched her breasts. He went down for maybe a minute. Then he went inside because he thought that was the main event. He moved. He changed positions twice because he thought variety would help. He asked if she was close. She said almost. He sped up. She went quiet. He finished. She kissed his shoulder and said it was nice. That word, nice. If you have been hearing nice for years, this video is for you. I told David what I am going to tell you. The female body is not a slot machine you punch until coins fall out. It is a finely tuned instrument. If you do not know the notes, playing louder does not make a song. It makes noise. How to satisfy a woman is not a stamina contest. It is state management. Her orgasm is a nervous system event. If you understand that, size stops being the story, and your hands, your mouth, your tempo, and your attention become the story. Let me give you the anatomy without putting you to sleep. Most of the nerve endings that decide whether she tips over are not waiting at the end of a long canal. They are concentrated closer than you think. The clitoris is not a tiny button you visit for 30 seconds as a courtesy. It is a structure with internal roots. The tissue just inside the entrance, on the wall toward her belly, is packed with nerves and blood vessels. That is why girth often gets more attention than length in research. That is also why a man of completely average size can give her a better orgasm than a man who is bigger and careless. You do not need more of you. You need to stop skipping the part of her that is actually built to finish. Now let's talk about what is happening in her head, because this is the part nobody addresses. A woman does not orgasm on command the way a lot of men do. She orgasms when her system decides it is safe enough, aroused enough, and uninterrupted enough to let the reflex happen. If you are hovering, grading yourself, asking, "Are you close?" every 40 seconds, her brain hears evaluation, not pleasure. Anxiety is contagious. I have told you this about size already. The worry itself creates the problem. Cortisol interferes with arousal in you, and it interferes with surrender in her. If you walk in trying to prove you are enough, she will feel the proving. She will stay a little bit outside her body, and a woman who is slightly outside her body does not finish. So what actually moves the needle when size is off the table? First, time before anyone is in a hurry. Research keeps showing the same unsexy fact. Adequate arousal before penetration matters more for her satisfaction than almost any physical measurement you are insecure about. I do not mean an hour of random rubbing until her nerves go numb. I mean a focused window where the goal is blood flow and safety, not a finish line. For a lot of women, especially after 40, after kids, after stress, after a long marriage that went cold, that window is longer than you want it to be. 7 to 12 minutes of genuine buildup is not foreplay as a warm-up lap. It is the event. If you skip it, you are asking her body to orgasm on a cold engine. Second, the map. Most men jump to the one place they have been told is the prize, and they stay there like they found a parking spot. That is how you make her sore and bored at the same time. Start away from the center, mouth on her neck. Slow pressure, not pecs. The place just below her ear, the line of her collarbone. Then the breasts, but not as a squeeze toy. The underside. The area around the nipple before the nipple. Then the lower belly, the inner thighs. You are not teasing her to be cinematic. You are recruiting more of her nervous system so that when you arrive at the clitoris and the entrance, the volume is already up. A woman who has only been touched in 1 square inch has a small orgasm, if she has one at all. A woman whose whole pelvis is already warm has somewhere for the reflex to go. Third, pressure and rhythm, not speed. This is where porn has wrecked you. You watched someone move like they were starting a chainsaw, and your brain made a logical but completely wrong conclusion. Faster equals better. Harder equals more. Female tissue does not work that way. If you stimulate the same spot too long and too monotonously at high speed, the receptors fatigue. She goes from, "this is good," to, "this is irritating," to, "I need you to stop, but I do not want to hurt your feelings." That is why she fakes it. Not because you are unlovable, because her nerves checked out and her manners stayed. Here is the correction. When you use your hand on the outside, think of a slow, wet circle, or a short up and down with the pad of one finger. Not a nail, not a dry rub. You want glide. Water-based lubricant is not an insult to her arousal. It is a technical requirement. Saliva dries, dry skin scrapes. If she is not very wet yet, that is information, not a verdict on you. Add lubricant and keep going. On the inside, if you use 2 fingers, you do not piston in and out like you are proving depth. You stay relatively shallow. You turn your palm up. You find the slightly spongy, textured tissue on the front wall. You press, pull toward you, release. Press, pull, release, like a heavy pendulum, not a jackhammer. I have walked men through that movement before. I am not going to pretend it is a magic trick with a brand name. It is biomechanics. 2 fingers match the width of that zone better than 1 sharp finger or 3 stretching fingers. Depth is not the flex. Contact is the flex dot. Fourth, 2 rhythms at once, on purpose. This is how you take her from nice to I cannot think. Inside, a slower, firmer pulse. Outside, a lighter, quicker circle on the external clitoris. Different tempos. Her brain is very good at tracking one pattern. It is much worse at staying in control when 2 honest signals arrive from 2 connected zones at the same time. That blended input is often what she cannot get from penetration alone, no matter how long you last and no matter what you are working with. Listen to me carefully. If you are inside her and your hands retire, you just turned off the main engine and kept the decorative one. A lot of women orgasm from clitoral stimulation during penetration, not from thrusting as the star of the show. Keep a hand there. Or put her hand there and cover it with yours so she does not feel rude for needing it. That single decision has saved more sex lives in my office than any conversation about inches. Fifth, stop switching when it starts working. This is the mistake I see in confident men, not just anxious ones. She breathes differently. Her hips start to chase you. The muscles around your fingers or around you tighten, and you think, great, time to change it up. You speed up. You switch sides. You pull out and change positions. You ask if she likes that. You just interrupted the exact pattern her nervous system was about to use. Imagine being 1 second from your own orgasm and having someone change the channel. That is what you do to her when you get excited and improvise. So here is the late piece I told you to stay for. The stay. When she is close, your job is not novelty. Your job is sameness with slightly more commitment. Same pressure, same spot, same rhythm. Maybe 10% firmer, not twice as fast. If she says wait, or I feel like I have to pee, or that is too much, do not panic and rip your hands away as if you broke her. That sudden full stop kills the reflex. Ease the intensity a fraction. Do not abandon the contact. And use your voice like an adult, not like a narrator. You do not need a speech. You need one calm line next to her ear. I have you. Let it happen. Stay with me. You are not performing dominance for the camera. You are taking the social fear off her body. A lot of women clamp down at the edge because they are afraid of the sound they will make, the mess, the face, the loss of control. If you flinch, she will flinch. If you stay, her system often follows. David, the man I told you about, did not need a new body. He needed a new sequence. I sent him home with a simple protocol. No penetration for the first dedicated window. Lubricant without apology. A map that started north of where he usually started. A hand that stayed on the outside even after he was inside. And a rule. When her breathing changed, he was not allowed to change the plan. 2 weeks later, he came back looking a little stunned. He said she cried, and he thought he had done something wrong, and then she laughed and told him nobody had ever stayed still long enough. That is not poetry. That is what happens when you stop optimizing for the one thing you cannot change and start optimizing for the things that actually determine a good experience. Let me make this even more practical, because I know that is what you came for. Tonight, before anyone takes clothes off, decide that your first job is not intercourse. Your first job is to get her pelvis warm and her mind off the to-do list. Kiss her like you are not trying to get anywhere. Put your mouth on her neck and stay there longer than feels efficient. When you touch her breasts, slow down until it is almost boring to you. Boring to you is often just right for her. When you reach between her legs, you do not dive. You rest your whole hand there and wait for her to press up into you. That tiny press is consent and direction at the same time. Then lubricant, then the outside. Then, if she is open to it, 2 fingers, shallow, palm up, that slow pull. Then, if you go inside with your body, the hand does not retire. If your angle makes a hand impossible, her hand stays, or a small toy stays, and you do not take that as an insult to your masculinity. A man who can share the job of her orgasm is better in bed than a man who insists on being the only instrument. If she does not finish the first time you try this, you did not fail. You collected data. Maybe she needs more buildup. Maybe the pressure was too sharp. Maybe she cannot let go on her back and needs to be on top so she controls the grind. Maybe she has never had an orgasm with another person in the room, and her body is still deciding if you are safe. None of that is solved by thrusting harder. All of that is solved by the same 3 skills women keep ranking above size. Confidence without rushing. Technique that listens. Emotional presence that does not turn the bed into an exam. I want to say something directly to the men who are already good lovers on paper. You last. You care. You ask. And she still seems far away. Asking is not the same as reading. If you ask, "Are you close?" she now has homework in the middle of sex. Watch her breath. Watch whether her hips are coming toward you or away. Watch whether her thighs are opening or guarding. If she pulls you in, stay. If she tilts her pelvis, she is trying to put you on the right spot. Do not override that with a position you saw on a screen. How to please a woman in bed is often just this. Stop arguing with the feedback her body is already giving you. And if you are sitting there thinking, "Doc, I still worry I am not enough," I want you to hear this the same way I say it in the office. Most men who think they are below average are statistically completely normal. The anxiety itself causes far more sexual dysfunction than anatomy ever does. I have watched men lose erections not because of their size, but because they were auditioning. I have watched women go dry not because they were broken, but because they could feel the audition. Get out of the comparison. Get into the sequence. Here is the sequence one more time because I want this in your body, not just in your memory. Warm the room and your hands. Give her real time before anyone is in a hurry. Map the body before you camp on one spot. Use lubricant. Slow pressure outside. Shallow, rhythmic pressure inside if you use your fingers. Two different rhythms if you use both. If you penetrate, keep the clitoris in the conversation. When she gets close, stay. Same place, same rhythm, calm voice. After she finishes, do not yank away and ask how it was. Keep contact, hand on her stomach. Let her come back to the room. Then, and only then, you can take your turn without turning her into a prop. That is how to make her orgasm when size is not the problem. That is also, frankly, how to satisfy a woman even when a man is convinced size is the problem. Because the women in the studies keep telling you the same thing. What they want in bed is a man who knows what to do with what he has, and who does not disappear into his own panic. If this helped you see it differently, share it with a man who is still trying to solve this with a measuring tape. Go down to the comments and tell me the honest number. How many minutes did you think she needed before you were allowed to be inside? I read them. Apply this tonight. Do not turn it into a performance review. Stay confident. I will see you in the next one when we talk about lasting longer and what she actually wants from that, which is probably not what you think.